A lot of people think domestic violence doesn't happen in the nicer parts of town, but it happens everywhere, in every neighborhood. Even in these nicer parts of town, there are women and children living like prisoners in their own homes. The size of the property is irrelevant, whether it's a 1-acre estate or a 1-bedroom apartment or a studio, the suffering is the same. And many people think even if it does happen on occasion, then the women in these more privileged areas should have the resources to look after it themselves. The problem is, they often don't have access to those resources. The manicured lawns, the quiet streets, the beautiful homes tell one story. Behind closed doors, there's often another very different story.
He was a very, very bipolar person. Brilliant, but very bipolar.
He's drunk and violent, and that's who he is.
Just very coldly uncalculating, doing what he wants, using deception as a means, using shaming as a means to get his way.
Even though my incidents of domestic violence took place 20 plus years ago, it ended in tragedy with the death of both my husband and my son. So it was major, and some things happened in my life that led me to have a very difficult time, and sometimes with post-traumatic stress, things from the past do come back.
He phoned my landlord to say that he was coming to the U.S., and I got very worried that he would simply abduct the children because we had joint custody at that time. So to make sure that that wouldn't happen, I got an order against him that he couldn't just take the children. But I had no idea of how to deal with the court system, what to do.
After 27 years of marriage, the last 2 years were getting violent. It was just scary to go out on my own without having my husband find out with the receipts that would come in the mail, it said that my insurance was being used. So I wanted to go outside of that.
I really needed some help on a practical and emotional and financial level. So I don't think I would be as far as I am today if it hadn't been for WomenSV.
Hi, I'm Ruth Patrick. I'm the founder and director of WomenSV, and that stands for Women of Means Escape Network, Silicon Valley. So the mission of WomenSV is to raise awareness about domestic violence in middle to upper income areas, and then to offer resources to women to help them deal with it more safely and effectively.
There's an epidemic of women in affluent communities who are victims of emotional, physical, and financial abuse. And WomenSV is one of the first organizations of its kind in the Silicon Valley to try and provide services and address the needs of these women.
And you might be thinking, women of means, what do they need an escape network for? And the truth is that domestic violence happens, it doesn't matter what part of town you live in, no matter how nice the neighborhood is, it can happen anywhere.
In my case, we were very financially comfortable, living in a wonderful community, but I didn't have any access to those funds. So I was pretty isolated.
I'm from an affluent area. Anything that I say or do reflects on my family, and I wanted to protect them.
Being married to a vice president of a very well-known company, it was very important to keep the appearances. But the truth be told, on the inside, the whole family was just being torn apart.
When you're involved with an affluent abuser who's got the money and power and resources to make it very difficult for you, it can be hard to leave safely. It can be hard to get a fair settlement. It can be hard to keep custody of your children. And so WomenSV is really designed to help women deal with those unique challenges.
WomenSV provides a support group for women who are in situations of domestic violence and need a safe place to find support.
The sharing of stories was very helpful. It made me feel more comfortable that I'm not alone. We all had very similar, overlapping stories.
And I've actually found a new friend in the women's support group, and it was funny because she told me some things, and I was just so outraged. And then I thought of my soon-to-be former husband, and he had done exactly the same thing. But when he had done it to me, I think in the back of my mind, I often thought, well, maybe I deserve it.
Ruth Patrick has put together a directory of resources for women who are in situations where they're being abused.
It's full of resources of providers, contact information with lawyers, for example, who are very knowledgeable about domestic violence, and therapists who know about domestic violence.
And it's an unbelievable, treasure trove of information, resources, suggestions about how to get help and how to get out of such situations. What WomenSV has also done is educated and helped educate professionals in the community to make us aware of these types of issues and problems. And I think we're all, not only are there women being served by the organization, but the professionals, the mental health professionals in the community who also provide related services are much better able to do so as a result of WomenSV's work.
We go out and give presentations and trainings and interviews. We'll talk to anybody who'll listen to us.
The Santa Clara County Psychological Association, which is the professional association of licensed psychologists in Santa Clara County, each year selects one community organization for outstanding work that's been done in the county. In 2013, we selected WomenSV because we felt that an unmet and hidden need and was providing very, very high quality professional support and services to the women who are victims of this particular problem.
At WomenSV, the way we define successful outcome is, do we give women all the resources we could possibly think of that could be of use to them? Did we put them in touch with knowledgeable lawyers or counselors, parenting coaches, educational consultants? Did we help them develop an effective strategy to deal with their unique situation? Did they feel empowered? Did they feel validated? Did they feel like they were in a position where they could make an informed decision that was right for them? And if we did all those things, then that's how we define success.
It's still a long road for me, and every woman is different, and everything that each person has to choose for themselves. WomenSV helped me make those choices.
I just sit back in amazement and watch the growth that happens when a woman moves from a sense of desperation and hopelessness through education, through connection, through a sense of solidarity with other women, and on to hope and often freedom, where she leaves the relationship. I just can't express fully enough how wonderfully fulfilling it is to see a woman take that path, move through that journey, and see the hope and light and life that's on the other side.
I think I actually feel pretty good at this point. I think I've been able to navigate a lot of the administrative obstacles of getting separated, and I found new friends through WomenSV.
I've become a stronger woman, wife, mother for my family.
I have a plan, I have a time frame, I have a sense of direction. I'm getting back to work, and I feel like I survived, my crisis that set me back so badly. So, doing better, much better.